level of racing that he's achieved is extremely rare.
Matoli's a monster! Matoli wins the sprint! Oh, what a horse he is! The mighty Matoli!
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift. I'm Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo, and as we throw up the field for the traditional opening day feature at Saratoga, the Grade 3 Schuylerville, Nicole, I just want to say this is one of our favorite times, if not our absolute favorite time of the year. 2-year-olds at Saratoga. The Schuylerville this year features some exceptional pedigrees and some very promising stars of tomorrow.
Absolutely. This is really one of my favorite times of the year. I love looking at young horses and trying to predict what they'll develop into. We're currently into the yearling sale season, which I say is like a pro sports draft. Well, the graded stakes we'll start to see for the division this summer at Saratoga and across the country at Del Mar are like watching the youngsters getting called up from the AAA to the major leagues. We've seen some really impressive maiden winners throughout, the spring, the first couple of months of the 2-year-old season. Got an exciting group of freshman sires this year, led by Triple Crown winner Justify, who we'll talk about here in a minute. It's really, this is when the division really starts to heat up, is in the summer at Saratoga.
And as we do every summer at Saratoga with Spa Babies, we'll do our best to give you as much information as we can on the first-time starters, trainers, patterns, workout information, and of course, pedigree information. The good news about the Schuylerville is we already have a little bit of information about how they've run in the past. 3 of these fillies are trained by Mark Casse, including Adora, the number 3, by standout Spendthrift sire Into Mischief.
Yeah, and Into Mischief, I'm sure we'll be talking about him a lot this summer. Really as he hit his stride, as he found his success, his stud fee climbed, the quality of the mares he was getting climbed. And really the next couple of years with his current 2-year-olds, his current yearlings, and the young horses coming through the pipeline behind them, we're going to start to see some of his best bred crops running. I really think he's going to have continued success as he eyes a 4th consecutive sire title for Spendthrift Farm.
Well, let's take a deep dive into these 2-year-old fillies in the Grade 3 Schuylerville, beginning with the number 1, Just Cindy. And what a way to start off our 2022 Spa Baby season, a talented filly by Triple Crown winner Justify.
Yeah, and Justify didn't race until age 3 himself, famously, of course, but his own sire Scat Daddy, a precocious runner, a Grade 1 winner himself at 2, the sire of some stallions who were precocious runners now turning out good 2-year-olds like No Nay Never, Caravaggio. Justify's own racing record may have been a bit of an exception to the rule, and he's already turning out good 2-year-olds, off the mark with a couple of stakes horses already. Statuette, Group 2 winner in Ireland, Tahoma, restricted stakes placed in California. Just Cindy, another winner for him for the Eddie Keneally barn, which unveiled a couple of nice 2-year-olds at the recently concluded Churchill Downs meet.
And the Keneally barn won the Sanford at Saratoga back in 2019. Just Cindy won the faster division of maiden special weights for 2-year-old fillies, going 5.5 furlongs on June the 17th. I love the professionalism she showed in that race. Maybe not the greatest start, but she settled in behind horses, got to the outside, and finished up strong. She must break alertly from the inside post. It can be a bit intimidating for 2-year-olds. The number 2 is Sweet Harmony, and we're going to take a look at her debut victory at Monmouth Park. For trainer John Terranova, she showed very good speed in this race, and she was extremely game to hold on.
Yeah, and a lot of sprint ability in the pedigree for a filly who I think is continuing to develop and improve. When you see a sale history like hers, that says to me that, wow, this horse is just continuing to mature and look more impressive. She's getting a nice rider pickup here, going from Sammy Camacho at Monmouth, who's a very good rider, to Johnny Velasquez here at Saratoga, obviously one of the outstanding Saratoga riders, eyeing some milestones this meet.
This filly just looks very, very fast. You mentioned that she sold for $135,000 at March, way up from her 2 prior auctions, probably because she breezed so quickly. A furlong in 9 and 4. You mentioned the speed and the pedigree. She showed speed in her debut. She's going to have to improve stepping up out of that Monmouth race where she only bested 4 others, but she has some speed. Adora is one of 3 in here, as we mentioned before, trained by Mark Casse. We're going to look at her career debut at Woodbine. This is over the synthetic surface. She was bet like she couldn't lose. She didn't disappoint. She went fast from beginning to end.
Yeah, and as we said, into Mischief's coming crops, he's, really on a path to continue his success. He first came to hand as a good 2-year-old sire before finding, sort of the older horse and classic success that he's had. So I certainly expect his 2-year-olds to continue to keep running. Adora is interesting, though. She broke her maiden on synthetic. She's from a Samson farm family with a lot of versatility to it. Into Mischief's also a versatile sire. Certainly understand them taking a shot on dirt here with a very good filly, but I do ultimately wonder what surface she'll want to be on. Dylan Davis rode very well at the Belmont spring meeting that just ended.
Number 4 is Vadaro, and this filly comes from an extremely strong and precocious family. Let's watch her debut at Parks first. Frankie Pennington just let her roll out of the gate, and she brushed to the front, entering the turn. She opened up on the field. She was too much for that group. And when you look at her pedigree, being a half-sister to Vequist, a half-sister to Mainstay, who I believe placed in this very race, you have to think she's going to be fast out of there. Again, a precocious family and a beautiful pedigree.
Absolutely. By Daredevil, that son of Into Mischief, who's the sire of the likes of She Dares the Devil and Swiss Skydiver, half to Vequist. She beat a next out winner in Boss Like Beth, who was third to her that day. And another one getting what I would say for Saratoga is a rider upgrade from a very good local rider in Frankie Pennington to a great Saratoga rider in Joel Rosario.
The number 5 is Janis Joplin, another one trained by Mark Casse. This one by the very popular Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner California Chrome. Janis Joplin's still a maiden. Cassie's showing a lot of confidence running her in this race. She was third in her career debut, and I think she'll continue to improve with experience and as the distances perhaps get a little bit longer.
She certainly has license to improve with a little bit of experience. Another one where there's some turf in the pedigree, Seeking Her Glory and others, where I ultimately wonder about the surface she'll wind up on. But you do see in here a little bit of wet track pedigree for her. And as of the time we're filming this, my weather shows a 40% chance of rain for opening day at Saratoga. So perhaps something to keep an eye on at a price if those conditions do show up.
Riders switched to Flavien Prat, and this filly probably gained a lot of experience from the debut. Didn't break very well, took some dirt while down on the inside, and still showed some moxie in the stretch to pass some horses. The 6 is Me and My Shadow, and while we'll watch this debut victory at Woodbine on the synthetic surface from Mark Casse, showed good speed in this race. It's always difficult to evaluate these kind of races. All of them were first-time starters, but Me and My Shadow was much the best. She won easily by 4 lengths, and she ran to her backing at the windows.
Yeah, and she popped up a 78 buyer speed figure, which is the best in this field. She's going to love going from 5 furlongs to 6 furlongs. Probably wants to go even farther, which is the case for a couple of fillies in here. The family of Belmont Stakes winner Touch Gold and others.
Yeah, others with approval, of course, won the Canadian Triple Crown. Mark Casse is just a sensational trainer. Of course, the 2-year-olds at Woodbine get to race with Lasix. They will not be racing with Lasix in the United States. Casse's 1 for 46 recently, Lasix off. I'm not sure how much I want to hold that against these horses, but Me and My Shadow should show speed. She switches to dirt with a versatile pedigree. Motown Mischief is up next, another horse moving from synthetic to dirt. She graduated at Presque Isle Downs. The buyer speed figure came back light. This barn has done exceptional work with 2-year-olds over the years, though.
Yeah, and another one with a little bit of everything in this pedigree, but ultimately one that I think wants to go farther as well, by the late Malibu Moon, that classic sire who stood at Spendthrift Farm from the AP Indy line. But he also sired a 2-year-old champion in Declan's Moon, and he's a good wet track sire. So another one to keep an eye on, perhaps at a bit of a price if we do get some rain tomorrow.
The number 8, Music Man Sandy, was a debut winner at Delaware Park. We're going to watch that race. And again, she showed good speed in this race. She drew away to win in very eye-catching fashion. The buyer speed figure, though, came back light. In situations like this, however, these are so lightly raced and these 2-year-olds keep growing each and every day, it wouldn't be a surprise to see any of them improve by 10, 15 points.
Absolutely. Obviously it's noteworthy when a horse jumps up and runs a very good buyer first time out, but if a horse runs a lower buyer on debut, take that with a grain of salt because they can certainly move forward. This is the first crop for Accelerate. He's got a couple of winners already. He, of course, a big, robust, long distance horse, but he's by himself a 2-year-old champion in Looking at Lucky. So certainly, not out of line for him to have some nice 2-year-olds already. And I have said before, in recent years, I think that Delaware Park 2-year-old program is kind of sneaky good with horses shipping up. Of course, every meet, the kind of chemistry comes out a little bit different as far as where the best 2-year-olds are coming from shipping into Saratoga. But I do, sort of star the Delaware Park 2-year-olds among others.
Music Man Sandy has a lot of speed in her pedigree. A nice mixture with Accelerate on top. And the number 9, Summer Promise, goes out for Mr. Lucas. And what a beautiful pedigree here. She's by Uncle Mo. She's sold for $500,000. And look at the pedigree. Boy, she's a half to Destin, who just missed in the Belmont Stakes. Half to Creative Cause and Vexatious. Grade 1 stakes winners. The latter a Grade 1 stakes winner at Saratoga. Summer Promise looked good in her debut. And drawing the outside post gives Louis Saez, an aggressive rider, some options.
Yeah, definitely. This is a very interesting horse to me. I think Wayne Lucas had her sharp for her debut and has her sharp for Saratoga if you look at her bullet work coming out of her debut. On the whole, this family is later developing and distance loving, but Creative Cause was a debut winner sprinting at 2, took the best pal in the Norfolk and placed in a couple of other Grade 1 events before going on to be a classic place 3-year-old. Uncle Mo, a classic sire, would also seem to add some precocity on top as a very good 2-year-old sire. This is another horse where I think, she's going to want to run longer in the future. She's going to continue to develop, but certainly, some ingredients there for her to be a very good 2-year-old.
Uncle Mo, of course, a star 2-year-old in his own right at Saratoga. Dazzling debut winner for Todd Pletcher. The Dam Dream of Summer won the Apple Blossom. Lots to like with the 9, Summer Promise. Top pick time for the opening day Spa Baby race. Our coverage, of course, presented by Spendthrift. Nicole, where are you going in the Schuylerville?
I am going to take a look at Summer Promise. I think this is a wide open race and there are a lot of directions you could go. As we said, there are a lot of horses in this race who are still developing, who might ultimately want to do other things in the future. Summer Promise is just the horse I feel in my gut is the best horse in the race, even if I do think my top 2 selections will ultimately want to run farther in the future and be better at 3 than they are at 2.
I think there's going to be a lot of speed in this race. And what I like about Just Cindy is that in her debut, she showed the ability to sit behind horses and pass them when the time came. The break is going to be the key for Arad Ortiz because Just Cindy didn't get away the best in her debut at Saratoga. And if she takes a stutter step from the rail, she could be in trouble. But I liked her debut. Respectable buyer, respectable barn, nice pedigree. Can't go wrong with a Justify. Me and my shadow, I'm a little bit interested in shipping down from Woodbine for Cassie. It's a fun opening day Spa Babies. It's going to be a fun meet. Please join us all meet long for Spa Babies presented by Spendthrift.